Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hello and welcome back to the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with Rob and Randy. Welcome back.
Welcome. Great to be back too.
It is great to be back. And today we're talking, this is a continuation of last week where we were talking about why diets work, why they don't work. Does what it is that you eat control what it is that you weigh? We're talking about myths. We're talking about how you can be able to overcome having a slow metabolism or a metabolism that's not working. We talked about the first steps in doing that. We're going to review, but really to go back all the way even to episode 1 to understand who it is that we are and why it is that we do what we do. Randy overcame late stage cancer. To be able to help us get to where we're at. I want to talk a little bit about that just to catch people up to speed.
Yeah, if somebody's just listening or watching for the first time, we may drop the whole, hey, he overcome late stage cancer. And it's like,
Sure. What?
Wait a second. Can we go back to that really quickly? Because I think you just said you overcame late stage cancer. In fact, I even had a conversation with Russell, my brother, yesterday, and we got on the subject and he's like, you really were in trouble, weren't you? I'm like, this is no joke. Like, they gave me 2 months to 2 years to live. This was 12 years ago, late stage cancer diagnosis, very aggressive. It spread into my lymphatics, my liver, my stomach. The journey led me to Spain and got well in 90 days, learned a lot about my body, my health, what I really believed in. You know, it's easy to say one thing and do another, but you really found out what you believe when you're thrown directly into the fire. And my belief system and what I believed and what you believe to be true about our health was put to the ultimate test. So what we know is that if you can overcome late stage cancer, you can overcome anything in the world. There is no incurable disease. There's only incurable people. So it really helped us launch our Happy Healthy brand, our metabolism programs, our products. Everything that we do is centered around helping people become the CEO of their own health and no longer be a victim to the lies, which I had been told for years, to the confusion that's created by all of the medical dogma out there, and really peeling back the layers to get to what really is health. And I think that is why we started this podcast, is you got to know the foundational principles. What is health? And once you know that, life gets a lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the real talk is, even though we knew and had a firm belief system when it comes to health, there was a lot of things that we were doing right. There was also a lot of things back then that we were doing wrong. And it's because of what it is that we learned from you going through late stage cancer that not only could we help other people, but who's the first person that you need to help? And that's you,
yourself.
Or us and yourself.
Yeah.
And so learn how to also, because of that, help myself and overcome an obesity issue that I had literally my entire life, where it was really hard for me to maintain a healthy weight. Even though I may have looked good for most people on the outside, I also knew that every day was a battle for me to be able to maintain that healthy weight. And it wasn't until I really understood how the metabolism works, what metabolism even is, because a lot of people just think metabolism is one of those things that you're born with. You either have a good one or you have a bad one. And then if you have a bad one, you're screwed, because now you got to be on a diet for the rest of your life. And so the belief now is that, you know what, you can overcome that challenge. You can heal your metabolism, which is what it is that we're talking about. I'm a living proof of that. Thank God.
Me as well. I'm not dead, which is a great clinical outcome.
Amazing clinical outcome.
Yeah, it's a great clinical outcome.
So I think that goes back to what we talked about last week. And step number 1 in this whole diet thing is really just changing your mindset and having a belief that you can overcome whatever challenges that you're having, keeping you from being able to lose the weight, whatever the health challenge is for you, through making sure that your body is healing from above down and inside out. One of the things that we always talk about. And today we're going to give you more steps in doing that. But the reality is that if you don't ever change your mind, or your mindset, then nothing changes. If you don't change your belief systems or the things that you've believed your whole entire life, then you can really never overcome the challenges that you've had throughout your whole entire life. So really, step number one is you've got to change your mindset. You've got to change your beliefs, because once you change your beliefs, that's going to change your actions.
Yeah. And I love our holistic background, 25 plus years that we've been in this world. But what I love more is that we've actually gone through it. We use it, and we've had to overcome our own challenges multiple times over the course of 25 years, which has really enabled us to help people get the results that they're looking for. It's easy to say something, but do something else. And I really love the fact that we're not bragging on us, but I am a little bit. We live what we preach. We hold each other accountable. We're not telling you to do something that we wouldn't do ourselves. And we look pretty darn good. I think we look pretty dang healthy metabolically. I'm 48, you're 48-ish. And I feel like, we're in our 20s. Our energy, our vibrance, our skin, our ability to do whatever we want to do and look and feel our best. It's not an accident, and it's definitely not luck. In fact, the smarter you get about applying the truth about health to your life, it seems like the luckier that you get.
Totally.
So it's not luck. It really is by intention. And so that's where today we'll help you get closer dialed in with more intention behind what you're wanting and how to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you said that, because it made me think of even last night. You're like, hey, what are you, where are you at? I'm like, I'm at home. You're like, I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you had no idea that I was actually cooking dinner.
I had no idea. To the untrained eye, you would think that I just randomly showed up right as the steak's coming off the grill.
Yeah. And so it is living that lifestyle. I mean, there I was, cooking an organic grass-fed steak with SCT oil, some apples, and it's just living that lifestyle. I could have been there eating whatever it is that I wanted to be, wanted to eat, but that's what I wanted to eat because it's our lifestyle. It's completely congruent. It's in alignment. I don't have to wonder, hey, if you're coming over to eat, is what I'm eating going to be something that he can eat? Those kind of things. If you've ever done that with people, you're like, I don't know what this person eats. I don't know what they don't eat. This is just a lifestyle that we live on a daily basis.
By the way, what did I bring you?
You brought me cherries.
I know that you love cherries.
I do.
And sometimes they're hard to get really good cherries, and it seems like they go bad so quick, which is a great sign that it's real food. So I brought you a big thing of cherries. Little did I know that by doing that, and because my heart was in a really good place of giving and wanting to serve, that I was going to get a ribeye steak dinner with baked apples and SCT oil. So can we do this more often? I bring over a bag of cherries, and then you cook me a great steak dinner.
Dude, I'm happy to do it. I love cooking.
That's a great friend right there, brother.
Absolutely. So, and I'll put those cherries to good use. So, all right. So with that being said, okay. So let's go back to last week. If we're going to ask you the question, then what is it when it comes to losing weight? Really, what is the right mindset to have when it comes to losing weight? Is it calories in, calories out? What is the right mindset?
Yeah, and that's really the myth attached to food, that it is calories in, calories out, or it's the whole eat less, move more strategy, which we'll talk about next episode about exercise and why it's really a horrible strategy in regards to trying to manage and lose weight. But I think the problem that a lot of us make is we hitch our proverbial weight loss wagon to the wrong mindset because we attach it to dieting. And if you believe that the reason that you struggle with your weight is because you eat too many calories, then the only solution or the cure would be to reduce calories. And if you take all the diets in the world and boil them down to one common denominator, what's that one common denominator?
It's reduce the calories.
It's reduce the calories. And we talked about it a little bit last week. The metabolism doesn't want to operate or run in deficit. So if you keep decreasing calories over the course of years, which is yo-yo dieting, your metabolism will adapt. It'll get slower and slower and slower to the point where nothing works, which is really a tough place to be, where you're metabolically inflexible. You really become a sugar burner. You're not fat adapted, and your body really is inflamed, and nothing you do seems to work. And I said the word inflamed and you started chuckling. I got to know what's going on here.
No, I was laughing because of, the conversation I had consulting with somebody, because she came into the clinic with the mindset of calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
And so because her metabolism was a train wreck when she came in, her mindset was, well, the more I reduce calories, the more and the exact verbiage she used was, because I've been reducing calories, I'm starving to death.
Yeah.
And I chuckled because I'm like, well, let's be really clear. Okay. You're actually not starving to death, because your body, based on the amount of body fat that you have 250,600 extra calories to be used for energy. We could have put her on.
Are you kidding me? She had that many?
Yeah. So we could have put her on a desert island for 40 days and just given her water. And she wasn't going to. The definition of starving is when you deprive yourself of food long enough that you're either suffering and or you're dying or going to have an early death. Okay. So you're not starving to death. You might be hungry, but it's because your body's not fat adapted.
Yeah.
So that's why your body is hungry. But let's be clear, you're not going to die. Okay. Yes. We just need to get your body now burning fat for fuel versus burning the sugar or the carbohydrates for fuel. So anyway, that's why I was laughing, because I'm like, people always say that, oh my God, I'm starving to death. No, you're not going to die.
Yeah, you're not starving. So with that being said, I think let me give a couple examples here of this myth about food. Because remember, food is for your health. It's not for weight loss. We're using it inappropriately. It's really information that you give your body. But I think going back to the problem with dieting is that a lot of times diets are more like crisis intervention, emergency care. It's almost like we wait till we hit that critical mass or that tipping point where now you're like at 30 pounds overweight. That
number on the scale that you're like, you vowed you never get there, and you get on, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And then, so now it's like, okay, now it's crisis. Now it's emergency care. Or, you don't like how your clothes don't fit. It's summer, you don't like how you look in your swimsuit. You don't take your shirt off at the beach.
Wedding to go to.
You got it. Your confidence is shot. Maybe your libido is no good anymore. Or maybe, God forbid, maybe you had a heart attack or a stroke, or you've been recently diagnosed a diabetic, or something more serious has happened. The emergency reactive way of looking at your health and then naturally gravitating to a diet is very, very dangerous, because it's a short-term, short-sighted, not even a solution, but a strategy that has no sustainability long-term. It's kind of like, I broke my leg in high school, and I was very thankful for the doctors and the surgeon and the morphine and the nurses and all the support that I got. But that was an emergency crisis intervention, and thank God for it. But I wouldn't want to go back to that same group of medical professionals and ask them, well, how do I now, based off what we just went through in this crisis, now keep myself healthy the next 30, 40, 50, 60 years? So diets are really more crisis intervention, and they don't work long-term. And we already know that. Everybody's been on one, they work and then they don't. You're cutting calories, you're wrecking your metabolism, you're depriving your body, and you're setting yourself up for this nasty rebound. So let me give another example, and I think this one will connect even more. I know it did for me. When you start thinking about dieting or changing what you're eating to lose weight, really dieting is symptom management. Okay, so what is symptom management? So let's say you had high blood pressure. You go to your doctor, and Dr. Rob, what are they going to give you?
Medication.
No doubt, 99% of the time, if not higher, a conventionally trained doctor, you go to them, there is a pill for every ill. So they're going to prescribe you blood pressure medication, and it's going to chemically force your blood pressure down. So now they would call that your blood pressure is under control. But Dr. Rob, what would happen if that same person on the medication stopped taking the medication?
Well, the blood pressure is going to go back up.
So it's going to go right back up. So we know that it didn't correct the cause. It was only treating the symptom. There's no different than a diet. By the way, they want you on that blood pressure medication for the rest of your entire life. Well, this is the problem with dieting. You're treating the symptom of the weight problem and not getting to the cause. The cause is your metabolism isn't healthy. And if you're using dieting doesn't correct or improve metabolic function. In fact, dieting can make it worse. So you end up on diets for the rest of your life, covering up the symptom of a real metabolic problem, and you end up worse than when you started, which is almost like the medication. Because if you look at these studies long term, people on blood pressure medications don't end up healthier in the long run. They end up sicker, they end up losing their kidneys, on dialysis, higher risk of stroke, end up with all the trace mineral imbalances and deficiencies that put them in an unhealthier state. So you can't symptom manage your way to weight loss or to overall health. You must get to the cause, and the cause is really the cure. The cause of really all illness and disease and obesity is a metabolic component is involved at all times.
Yeah. So which brings us right into then step number two is you got to find out why your metabolism is not working, and then have a simple plan that you're committed and disciplined enough to actually follow that plan, which why mindset goes back into it, because sometimes that plan is going to mean you're going to be doing something different than what it is that you had been doing before. So as long as you're going in with that mindset of, you know what, I can overcome this, my body can be able to heal, I just need to now follow this plan and then stick to it. Because if you're not disciplined to stick to that plan, as soon as something hard happens, and it will, right?
Guaranteed.
You're going to have the vacation, the wedding, the birthday party, the whatever it is, it's going to happen. And are you going to be committed and disciplined enough to stay with that plan, or are you going to jump ship? You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So you just got to have the discipline to stay with that plan. But if you have no plan, what is no plan?
It's a plan to fail.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of times the mindset is key, because our thoughts are more powerful than reality. Do you really believe that you deserve to be happy and healthy and at an ideal weight and full of energy and thriving and living your best life? You have to establish that. But I could have the right mindset, but living here in Dallas, Fort Worth, if my plan is to drive north to get to California, my mindset, although could be very powerful, it has me going in the wrong direction because my plan isn't matching up to the proper mindset. So understanding what health is, understanding metabolism, your plan in regards to getting healthy, losing weight, and maintaining that has to focus on improving and correcting the cause of why your metabolism isn't working properly. So I think the mindset has to be correct, but just like the mindset has to be correct, the plan has to mirror the mindset.
Yeah, which is why if you're doing a different program, whether you're quote counting points, you're doing a keto program, you're doing whatever fad program is out there, if that program is not designed to heal your metabolism, not somebody else's, because you can Google keto and it's going to give you a plan that is telling everybody that they need to be doing. Well, here's the thing is everybody is different and everybody is unique. It's called human variability. Okay. So because of it, that plan has to be specific to you. And I think for a lot of people, that's why they stop, is because it's hard. It's hard for them because the plan that they were doing was a plan that wasn't designed for them.
Yeah.
So if I was going to say, hey, you know what? I want to look better in my clothes. And I decided one day, hey, you know what? I'm going to just hop into your clothes. Well, those are designed for you, not for me.
Yeah.
It's going to look and feel really odd for me, and it would be ridiculous. Right.
Yeah.
So the reality is that you got to make sure that you're doing something that's going to be specific to you so that you do want to stick with what it is that you're doing. If not, it could be really, really hard. And that's why you stop. And then you restart something different. And then that doesn't work for you anymore. Yeah. We call that death by dabbling.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's a common thing. It's the whole death by dabbling, death by a la carte, where you're picking and choosing little pieces of this and that, and trying to make it all integrate itself and galvanize into a system that works for you. And it really doesn't work that way. In fact, really things, when they're more simple, they really work better. You don't have to be so complicated and so confusing. Even the quote I shared with you earlier today about, it's more of a business quote, but it's really a health quote, which is simple scales, fancy fails. What we're saying is that the more bells and whistles and moving parts that's out of sync for you, that although it may seem impressive on the surface, because, hey, maybe you got this really expensive blood test from your doctor that gave you certain information, but information without a plan specific to you to correct the imbalances doesn't do you any damn good. So I don't care how impressive the test was or how many degrees the doctor might have. If you don't have a plan that's unique and customized for you, that works simply with your body, which, by the way, just to remind our audience and to remind ourselves, as if we needed a reminder, the greatest doctor in the world is on the inside. That doctor does not need help. That doctor needs no interference. There is an innate healing wisdom within all of us. It heals a cut. It mends a broken bone. It's the same power that beats your heart right now. It is a healer. It's all it knows. Health is the norm. Disease is the abnormal. Don't ever, ever forget, getting well is an inside-out job, not an outside-in job. So fancy isn't necessarily the best way to get healthy. Drugs are fancy. Yet the sickest people I know take a lot of drugs and have a lot of surgeries. And the healthiest people I know do the simple day-to-day tasks unique to them that make the most sense, that are sustainable, that works within the laws of health that God created.
All right, we're done. And that's it. That's the end of the episode. So mic drop. Just kidding.
No, it was kind of a mic drop moment. I kind of felt I was going to drop one, but no, that's just, we can't lose. And so we have these conversations with so many people for so many years, and people can't see the forest for the trees because their brain is so scrambled. I don't know what it's from. Maybe it's a lifelong dependency on medication, listening to conventional doctors' advice. Maybe it's too many drug commercials. I don't know, but I think the lies have been told for so long, it's moved us away from the real truth, which is the real truth that there's the power that's inside of us is greater than anything on the outside. And if you're working in a program or a system that's not optimizing your body's own recuperative healing abilities, you could be going down the wrong route. I don't want to get on a tangent. I said route. I think road was what I was trying to say. But I don't want our audience to lose sight of the what we're going to bring to you that a lot of doctors are not going to bring, and what a lot of healthcare professionals are not going to talk about is the fact that you are your best healer, you are your greatest advocate, and the power to get healthy and the power to turn your life around lies within you.
It does, which brings us to the next thing when it comes to you is that, you know what, you have to be committed and willing to do the work. And going back to what it is that you were saying, I think the quote healthcare system, which is really a drug care, sick care system, has taught people how to be lazy. In other words, it said, hey, you know what? If your cholesterol's too high, we're going to give you a drug so you can lower that. If your blood pressure is too high, we're going to give you a drug so you can lower that. Mm-hmm. Heaven forbid, actually going to the gym and actually doing some exercise. Heaven forbid, changing what it is that you're putting into your body. Heaven forbid, changing your lifestyle. Let's give you the easy button and the easy way out. But like you said, you can't drug your way into health. That is impossible to be healthy.
Well, if you could, we'd be the healthiest country in the world, because we know if you give drugs to a healthy person, Rob, it makes them sick. How is giving drugs to a sick person going to make them healthy? Drugging people into health is impossible.
It is. And so it's made people freaking lazy. So you got to be willing to do the work. Even like Mark Cuban says, if you ever watch Shark Tank, he always tells the people that are on there is no easy button. Okay. Yeah. Because here's the deal. Simple, you need to have a simple plan that you can be able to stick to, but simple isn't always easy. Right. Yes. So because you're going to be doing something that could be challenging the norms. Okay. It could be challenging the dogma that's out there. And so, you know what are you going to do if things actually get a little bit hard because your body's now doing something different? Your body may respond a little bit differently to what it is that you were doing before. And so that's why you have to be willing to do the work. So this podcast is for you. If you're willing to do something different, you're willing to do the work.
Who's it not for?
It's not for those people that are like, you know what? I want the easy way out. I want the quick fix. I want the easy button. I don't want to have to do the work. I don't want to have to change what it is that I'm doing. Now, if you want to go somewhere and you want to get there fast, we can get you there fast. That's not an issue. However, you have to be willing to do the work, and you got to be willing to follow the plan.
No, that's well said. And too many of us, we've fallen into that trap of the quick fix, which is that swallow the pill mindset, whether it's a supplement, a medication, a diet. None of that is going to create a real solution for any of us, because if those things worked, our country would be thriving. And the data doesn't lie. Our country's more sick, more chronically ill, more overweight, more medicated at any point in recorded history. So clearly it's not working. There has to be a pivot. Really, there has to be a 180, doing completely different. Almost in our society now, whatever the system tells you to do, almost doing the opposite will get you the better result. Not giving health advice, disclaimer. However, you know it to be true. If you've been to a doctor in the last 30 years, or you've watched enough drug commercials, ask your doctor. Yeah, ask your doctor if getting off your ass and working out and eating right is right for you. But they're going to send you right to the pill, right to the potion, right to the lotion. It's lazy. It's inexcusable. And as we keep going through the myths about our health, our weight, and metabolism, we're going to dive into some genetic issues, age-related issues, exercise phenomenons, not just the food, to bring full clarity and to come full circle on why you have everything that you need to turn your life around. There are no excuses. And like we always say, and that everybody is saying, I think these days, no one is coming to save you.
No, and that fat, overweight doctor that you've been taking advice from, he ain't going to save you, because he didn't know what the hell he's doing when it comes to health. So stop taking advice from people who don't know what in the world they're doing when it comes to health.
Dude,
don't take advice from me. Yeah,
oh my God. I was literally having a very, not an argument, but a very, not heated, I guess. It was a spirited conversation. And this guy was literally going after me about some things I had talked about. And he was just raving about this doctor on this podcast and how smart he was. And I guess he was insinuating that I wasn't very smart, which is okay. I think
that's a whole other issue.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to go down that road with this guy. So I had to see what this doctor looked like. So I looked up his podcast. I'm not going to call him out. This guy was the most unhealthy, pot-bellied dude I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I am 6% body fat, 48 years young, on no medication, thriving. And this is the guy that you're listening to. You might want to hang on to a couple of things that come out of my mouth before you hit your wagon to this guy. I don't know. It's just, it's crazy to me though. We get advice from people who have no idea what health is. So true. And I don't respect that. I don't respect that. I'm not down with that. If you don't live and walk and talk what you preach, anything you say, I'm just not going to believe it.
I'm with you on that. So last but not least, because we've got to wrap this up. Okay. We can go on this forever, right? The last thing is you got to be willing to learn. Okay. You got to be open to listen. Like you just said, you got to be willing to listen to something you may not have ever heard before, because the gap between what your previous belief was to the new information you may be learning right now is where intellect lives, right? And so you want to use your intellect to be able to be making well-informed choices and decisions, because if what you're doing right now isn't working for you, then maybe you should be open to learning something different and taking action and doing something different than you have ever done before. So that's why we give you guys this information. That's why we do the podcast, so that we can be able to really open you up to be going, hey, you know what? Maybe that could actually work for me. Maybe actually having a plan to heal my metabolism is where I need to be looking, versus going, hey, you know what? I have a slow thyroid, so I'm going to take the thyroid medication, or my hormones aren't working, so I'm going to take this medication. What they're not telling you, for example, we always talk about that, why are you going to give thyroid medication to somebody when the liver is actually where the thyroid hormone is synthesized to begin with, and they're not ever checking the liver. So, be open to actually really learning how the body works.
Yeah, no, totally. I want to read this quote in regards to that. And because we're going to say things on here that may challenge what you previous believe. In fact, I hope that we do, because it needs to be challenged, just like a lot of our previous beliefs have been challenged. We've evolved over time as we've continued to seek knowledge and give it application. What do they say? That real knowledge happens once you know it all. Don't be a know-it-all. It's the most dangerous thing you could ever do. But the quote is from Thomas Sowell. He says, when you want to help people, you tell them the truth. When you want to help yourself, you tell them what you think they want to hear. And our commitment to you on this podcast is we're never going to tell you what we think you want to hear. We're always going to tell you the truth, and we're going to stand behind that at all costs without exception.
Absolutely. So I think that's a great place to stop. Next week, next podcast, we're going to talk about exercise.
Yes.
Is that the solution for turning on your metabolism and losing weight? Maybe not. I don't know. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
I do know, but we are going to talk about it.
You may be shocked what we reveal about exercise's correlation with weight loss and your overall health. So I'm excited about it. In closing, Dr. Rob, where should people go? Because we don't ask a lot, but if you like this, please share it, download it, rate it, review it. We want to hear from you too. Ask questions. Anything else they should do if they're listening?
No, just share it. That's your action step. Share it, like it, give us a review. That's your action step for today. Be open to learning something new.
Awesome. We love you guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at The Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.